What's going on, good people? It is your main man, the Bad Wolf, and we're going to talk about why the USA can revoke or cancel your passport. Are you ready? Let's get started. All right, once again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for taking the time to watch this video and support me by hitting that bell, like, and subscribe. And if it's your first time here, no, not even that. To everybody watching, welcome to the tribe. Let's get it in. All right, so a lot of people don't know that the passport itself is not your document. It literally tells you in the fine print that document is the property of the United States Department of State. It's theirs. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't owe you the right of you being able to use it. They do. They work for us. Never forget that. We, the people, are governed by our consent. So, in fact, they are our trustees, our protectors, our janitors, our health care, all that stuff. That's why they provide all those services. It's not just because they, were like, hey, let's just do that. That'd be fun. No, they work for us. Okay. So, but what are some reasons why they can deny you or cancel it? And basically, at any point in time. Yeah. So, one of the main ways or reasons that they can cancel you is because of child support. If you owe child support, primarily if you're in the rears, meaning you owe and you're behind of more than $1,500, that is generally when they will and can do that. But does that mean that they can't cancel it at any time for any reason whatsoever? Oh, they absolutely can. But if they do that without a lawful reason, you can sue them. So generally, they're not going to make that mistake. However, the system does hiccup because nothing in this world is perfect. So that could happen. Now, we do know that a rash of people's passports have been canceled, especially when they were overseas for some reason, but we're going to make a video on that later on. So, can they do it if you just have child support? Well, they could, but because what's really going on is that the legal person, okay, this might be a little deep for some of you guys who are just watching my video on the basics of why they can cancel or revoke it, but we teach the deeper level of information here, the things they don't really want you to know. So stay tuned, sit back, relax, and enjoy your turn. So the legal person, which is your name in all capitalized letters. And when you fill out your passport, there is a secret way to do it as a national. That which is presented in the GPO Style Manual, section 5.23. That's the Government Publishing Office. And they talk about what's known as a national. A national is somebody who's born privately, and you've heard the terms such as New Yorker, Floridian, Wisconsinite, Californian. Those are standings that we all have. But along with our standing, per 8 U.S.C. 1401, nationals and citizens at birth, we also get citizenship. So, in fact, there is a way to do your passport as a citizen or a national. Now, educationally said, okay, and entertainment purposes only, the first page of the passport application is essentially primarily for the U.S. citizen. But because we have both, we essentially fill the passport out as both, and we get a down the middle status on our passport, usually represented by certain stars in certain locations on the passport book or card, educationally said, of course. Now, with that being stated, just because you owe child support, you're paying it, and you're current, that doesn't mean that they're going to cancel or revoke it. You're paying as agreed, you're not in the rears, you are fine. Ding. But the moment you get in the rears, that's when it can happen, which means they can either deny it at any point in time because you're now late. That straw man, that legal person is behind. And essentially, from their perspective, you're either the caretaker or the surety or the trustee for it from their position, so they refer you, you're not paying as a member of theirs on time, and they're not canceling you, but they're canceling the straw man's access, which is linked to you on the second page of the application. And that particular person, well, sorry, you suffer because your sponsor ain't paying. Now, what does that mean as far as if you're getting ready to get a passport? Same thing applies. If you're getting ready to get a passport and you are behind, you're in the rears, you're not current. And of course, remember, it's more than $1,500. So 15 to $2,500. If you're more than that in the rears, you need to get caught up. You need to get that paid up or get it waived or whatever else. Because if you're trying to get a passport and they see that when they do their background check, they are going to deny your application. Now, what other methods to the madness? Okay, well, if you have a warrant, generally, if it's a federal warrant, from what we've been able to ascertain, informational purposes only, warrants on the lower level, the state levels, do not affect, as long as they're not full criminal, blown out federal warrant, okay, you can be denied anywhere at any point in time. When that hits, if you have a federal warrant and you're overseas and that runs through it. Now, normally they don't just scan instantly, and see the moment you get it. But if somebody triggers compliance or you do something and they need to take a look at it, or you go to renew or get a new one, or another agency snitches on you or something like that, or baby mama snitches on you, or baby daddy snitches on you, whatever it is, that could trigger them to say, oh, well, thanks for bringing this to our attention, and denied. And you could be anywhere in the world. Or you could be here in the United States of America and get denied because of your federal warrant. So, like I said, generally they don't really so much care about on the state level because jurisdictionally that is a different jurisdiction. And well, between you and me, they're not really American, the states of. So the government doesn't care too much. And that would be interfering with your rights as a national under 8 U.S.C. 1503. And the government doesn't really like to be sued. So if you think that they're doing something wrong or they're denying you because of an outside commercial contract, you may have a lawsuit on your hands. Now, one particular lady who took her a number of years, she sued them because they certain acceptance locations, essentially trickling up to the Department of State itself, would not allow her to get a passport without a social security number and without a state provided birth certificate, which is different than the one you get issued from the hospital or a private one. So the judge ruled in the federal court that it was unconstitutional and unlawful what they did because there is no law that requires you to have a social security as a national. It's a privilege. And that too also belongs to the Social Security Administration. It's not your property. So they can't force you to go and say, hey, you have to go and get property from here to get this, not the passport. Now, certain other things on a state level, yes, because they're saying, look, if you want this privilege or benefit, which are different than your rights, freedoms, and liberties, think about that for a moment. We absolutely have the right to make sure that you are a member of ours and you comply with certain things. However, the law also states that nationals are the superior. So you've got two different things going on. You got a public side and a private side. Your private side is you as a national or a state citizen or a Floridian New Yorker. Your public side is a U.S. citizen. And essentially anything that a U.S. citizen can do, a national is supposed to be able to do, unless the position requires by law for you to 100% have to be or have to pledge to be a U.S. citizen, like a police officer, or judge, or postal worker, things of that nature, public trustees. All right. So, what other things can they deny you the passport for or revoke it? Well, let's see. Child support, warrant, if you have lied on your application, tampered with the oath on the application. Also, probably the biggest elephant in the room would be your taxes. Now, you don't have to worry about general taxes, okay, or should we say taxes in general. I'm talking about like normal amounts, 1,000, 5,000, whatever else. From what we've been able to ascertain, if you owe more than $50,000 in personal taxes, which that's an interesting thing, but we'll save that for other times and videos to make because there's something there too. But for those people who want to learn more information about living in the private, please go over to jamesclovett.com. JamesClovett.com. That's my secondary site. My first or primary is blacksite32.com. Catch you guys over there. Now, if you owe more than $50,000, which that, depending on your scenario, education, we do consultations for private talks, guidance, and to practice what the IRS refers to as tax avoidance, you can definitely see me on blacksite32.com for a consultation, and we can go over some potential pre-planning and, how shall we say, legal options to avoid, minimize, or eliminate your tax obligations within the merit of the law per the IRS. So, yes, if you do owe that amount of money, they could pull it at that point in time. Once again, are they sitting there with the supercomputer and scanning for the very moment to do that? No, because that would be a headache and there would be lawsuits and it would draw a lot of attention to it. So, of course, they don't want that to happen. But that may change in the future. So, other than that, those are your primary reasons that they would cancel or whatever else or refuse to renew. All right. So, that's basically it. Other than that, you should be good to go, guys. Make sure you're not out there being a belligerent or a combatant. Make sure that you are respecting the laws and traditions of other countries. If you do use your passport and you're out there committing crimes and they see that, and you're trying to get away with things, or maybe you've even heard about the do not detain way of doing the passport for nationals. This does not mean that they cannot detain you per se. What it's saying is that if you do your passport as a national slash state citizen, you're looked at as more of a diplomatic type person who should not be getting into crimes and troubles. If you're not doing anything criminal, when they run that passport, book or card, law enforcement on all levels are supposed to leave you alone. However, that does not mean you cannot be arrested at all. Does not mean you cannot be stopped at all. It means if a cop or any law enforcement, any agency is bothering you for no reason and you present that, they are to leave you alone. But if you do a crime, you deprive somebody else of their rights, or you endanger public safety, speeding or doing whatever, you do go onto a military base and do crazy stuff, whatever it is, you've waived your right to privacy. You are now a belligerent combatant, and that ID is not going to save you. Some people out there have done some stupid things on some, well, you can't stop me. I'm a five-star, national. Now, you have to also understand, guys, that when you guys talk about the national attribute that can be applied to the passport, book, or card, the standard law enforcement agency has not heard of that, at least not the general individuals. The only way that they'll see it or know about it is if your ID is run. And generally, they're not even supposed to run those IDs, but don't let them lie to you. All of them can run them. They just don't want to because they know it's going to pop up. And really, they can get into trouble for that. Okay? Because it's really above their pay grade. But when they do run it, it does pop up. Um, Constitutional citizen, unlimited pew pew rights, and a couple other pertinent informational pieces, educationally said, of course. So don't think that you're above the law. Nobody is. Okay. Well, we'll leave that alone. I could go into further detail, but that'll be on my other YouTube channel, Badwolf Unrestricted. Probably a better area to talk about things like that. So anyway. All right, so those are off the top of my head, guys. Those are the only main reasons. Stay out of trouble. Don't be a belligerent combatant, and don't assume that everybody knows about the secret attribute of the passport, being able to get it done as a national and a citizen. But people always go, "Well, Wolf, how can we prove this? If only they can see it when it's scanned. How do you know? How do certain other people know?" Well, certain other people have provided information to let us know. But let's go with the smallest piece of it. If you look at the passport DS11 application, on the bottom of it says, "I declare under penalty of perjury that I am a U.S. citizen or a non-citizen national." Non-citizen national is the term for the U.S. national, national of the United States, non-resident, private citizen. It all means the same thing. And actually, there's two different types of nationals. Well, technically there's three. And all three of those fall underneath the terminology, the word non-citizen national. There's one type that's called a U.S. non-citizen national, and the other one's called a non-citizen U.S. national. And we're the non-citizen U.S. national. We are the primary. Underneath our category is a U.S. non-citizen national. All right. But they should also include on the Department of State a section because the national born in the District of Columbia is a different type of national. But I'm sure they already know that and it's lumped in there together because that should be listed there. Um, yeah. So that's it, guys. Stay out of trouble. Be cool. Be smooth. Get it. Move in private. Move in silence. Take care of yourselves. And I'll talk to you guys later. Enjoy. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the bell, like, and subscribe, and a thumbs up. We have to offset the people out there who don't want you guys to know this information. Those are the ones who are putting the thumbs down on there. I know that ain't you. So help me to help you so you can help me help more of you. I'll talk to you guys later.